Middle of the week, hump day. Got to get you over the hump, get you through to the weekend. You know what time it is. Time for your favorite politically incorrect sports podcast. It is time for Sports Frenzy 2.0. He is my brother from another mother. He is your Uncle Dave, the conquistador, Dave Height.
And my brother from another mother, the maestro, Kevin Crane.
And it is NFL time. Does the season ever end? Is it just 12 months nonstop of fun and games?
It is. The NFL dominates every month of the year. They've spaced it out. Yes, there are weeks where nothing's going on, but they have one key weekend, deadline, whatever, every single month.
Yes.
It's crazy.
And so now, of course, here in the month of March, teams scrambling, trying to get down because next Wednesday, as we tape here, March the 6th, March the 13th is the start of the new league season. That means every team has to be under the cap number, even though it generously, as we reported here, bumped up, helped out a lot of teams. There are still some teams that are going to have to make some painful and severe cuts over the next few days.
And some self-inflicted.
You sign a bad contract, this is what happens. And the Denver Broncos
made one of the worst signings when they extended Russell Wilson. I believe when they did that, we fucking told you they were making a mistake giving him that extension.
And I think the thing that makes it the worst trade of all time and the subsequent signing, as you said, for the extension is how much you gave up.
They gave up so many draft picks.
And then you turn around and give the guy an extension that ends up biting you to the tune of $85 million in dead cap money in the ass.
Ouch.
Biggest dead cap hit of all time. I remember back in the day, Jamarcus Russell, I thought that back when the first pick of the draft, there was no limit. There was no cap. Remember, they could get $50-60 million.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And Jamarcus Russell was such a waste. And the Raiders took on a ton of dead cap money, getting rid of him after a couple years. But they didn't have to give away draft picks.
No, they gave up a couple of number ones. And it was just ridiculous the amount that they gave away to get this guy.
Yep.
And Seattle's going to be sitting pretty because of it. If they know what to do.
Yeah, but Seattle hasn't.
They have their own cap issues.
Yeah, they had to cut one Jamal Adams, if you remember.
Yes. Not good there either.
Where they had to trade a ton of picks to the Jets to get him. And he turned out to be a bust. So it kind of all comes back around. The circle of life. Hakuna Matata. But yeah, this is just for 2 years. I've got to believe the Broncos will give Sean Payton the benefit of the doubt, and they will let him ride this out. They can't blame him for this. They can't blame him for this.
No, look what he inherited. And Wilson was on the downward trajectory when they brought him into Denver. And he did nothing to help himself, even with Peyton there.
They were better with Peyton, and he was better with Peyton.
But still, he did not have what he had before.
The writing was on the wall.
Yeah.
But you've got to give Sean Payton a chance with his own team, his own quarterback. But the thing is, it's going to take 2 years now to clean this mess up. This is like the Chernobyl of the NFL. Evacuate Mile High.
Yeah.
For 2 years.
Yeah. Well, what was it? Up until this point, the highest dead cap charges, 22. Matt Ryan cost the Falcons 40.5. And just last year, Rodgers cost the Packers 40.3. And then Brady's cost the Bucks 35.1. Wentz with the Eagles 33.8.
Yeah, Wentz I can see. The other one's a little surprising.
Yeah.
But Wentz was shuttling from team to team to team. Yeah, I could see that. Just a ping pong ball of financial disaster.
Yeah.
And again, we talked about this. Looking at some of these moves that have been made over the last 48 hours as teams are getting desperate to, again, get under the cap number.
Have to restructure some people.
And have to cut some others.
Cut others, yeah. It's every year at this time, it gets very interesting.
Yes. Now, there are some teams, of course, mostly bad teams, that are in really good shape. As of this morning, on March the 6th, as we tape, the Washington Commanders, now I know they just signed Zach Ertz today, so that's going to knock a little bit off the number I saw first thing this morning, but they were number one in terms of cap room at $96 million. Now, of course, the Bears were up there, but then
they were at 80.
But then with Jalen Johnson getting the tag,
they still have got to work out a longer-term deal with him.
Yeah, so right now the Bears, I think, are like between 55 and 60 million under the cap. The Patriots are in good
Ertz is
shape.
worth up to $5 million for the 1-year deal. That's a bargain.
That's not a bad deal. Not at all. Not at all. But you got the franchise tags, as you mentioned, Jalen Johnson. Do they work out a long-term deal? Can they work out a long-term deal? Now, it's a non-exclusive tag, but that's always a smart way for the teams to go, because if somebody gives them that player an offer, Jalen Johnson gets an offer, let's say, from whoever, the Cowboys, the Ravens, the Browns, whoever, and the Bears say, go ahead, sign him, 2 first-round picks back. So it's the non-exclusive tag is very rare. Do you see anybody bite on that? Because that's a hefty price to pay. That's a hefty
price. The way Jalen's been playing, somebody may bite. You never know.
See, now I've heard different things, though. I've heard the NFL quote-unquote experts saying that he's a risky guy to bring on board. So I think the Bears doing the right thing, play out the 1-year deal.
Yeah, let's see how it goes. Can you duplicate? Can you improve even more?
I think this is a smart move by the Bears. I think
they will be fine.
Now we can officially say, can we not officially say the Bears are going to draft Caleb Williams?
I think it's a foregone
conclusion. But they have
conclusion.
got to trade Justin Fields this weekend. They have got to trade him. And now the price is dropping.
Regardless, they have got to move on. Take what you can.
But they've got to do it before you can start signing all the free agent quarterbacks out there, which starts Sunday night, early Monday, with the non-illegal tampering period.
Yeah.
They've got to do it by Sunday morning. And I'm just saying, it sounded crazy to me. Kirk Cousins already moving his family down to Atlanta. So that destroys the number one target for Justin Fields. And now I'm hearing
will
2/3.
Minnesota
I'm
want
hearing
him
2/3,
or will Pittsburgh
is the price. 2/3 is what I'm hearing.
Rounders,
2 third-round picks. That's terrible.
That's not good.
Got to get at least a second. You've got to get at least a second. As the Bears, of course, gave up a 5th to bring in Ryan Bates, offensive lineman from the Bills, a guy who they wanted.
What the hell are they thinking?
They wanted him a couple years ago.
Yeah, but in the last 2 years, he hasn't even played double-digit games because he's always
hurt.
He was a
starter for 1 year.
Yeah, and he's always hurt. So what the hell are you doing?
They're just trying to get depth to the offensive line. So that leaves the Bears now, by my calculation, with 5 picks. But all 5 picks are in the first 4 rounds.
We don't even have a second.
No. We got
So
2 firsts, a third, and 2 fourths. But again, you ship Fields out, you rebuild that draft class. I'll tell you, the thing that you and I probably will not agree on when it comes to the Bears.
their inept ability to screw everything up.
No, we agree on that. No, but again, if we were running everything, which we should be, I don't like this whole bullshit running back by committee thing.
No, make a damn commitment
You have got
to somebody.
the best free agent class of running backs we have seen in decades. You have got to bring in Saquon Barkley, Austin Eckler, somebody good.
One of those two to be your main back.
You've got the money.
And you have last year's rookie as the backup. That's what you need.
But you have got to, whether it's Caleb Williams or, God forbid, Justin Fields, enough with the Dante Foreman, Roshan Johnson crap. Give me Eckler, give me Barkley, give me somebody solid, dependable, 30 to 35 touches a game in that backfield.
That's
to take
what
the
you
pressure
need.
off the quarterback.
You have to have that guy who you feed the ball to.
And again, this is
because if you have a good running game, it brings the safeties up, which opens up the deeper passing game.
Even Derrick Henry's out there, for the love of God. Now, he's got a lot of tread on the tires, but still, make a splash at the running back position. I was thinking about this. I'm like, this is the franchise. Yes, we know the quarterback woes are legendary. They'll fix that with the number 1 pick, hopefully. And if not, then we're done. Then we're done.
Then we'll have to reset again.
We're done forever. That's fine. But I'd rather gamble having the number 1 pick, finally getting the
with
potential.
A solid running game.
But this is the franchise of Walter Payton, Neil Anderson, Matt Forte. You just plug and play those guys in.
Gale Sayers, Jimmy Piccolo. Come on.
Well, we had the gap there, though. We had the gap.
But still, you had a big gap. But the Bears have always been a huge running back team.
Even Thomas Jones, rarely have we ever had no great running back in the backfield. Think about it.
Yeah, and look how badly we misused David Montgomery.
David Montgomery, another one, yes.
Misused.
Yeah, so like the Bears are kind of, we bitch and piss and moan about how the Packers always lucked into great quarterbacks and still do.
Yeah, the Bears.
But the Bears have always had a
backs.
great running game with great running backs. We just stick with what we can do. Get a great running back in there, 30, 35 touches a game.
And then your passing game will come to you.
Yes, you got DJ Moore. You're okay. Darnell Mooney, if he goes away, that's fine.
Whatever. You've got a good tight end.
Yep.
You have one of the top 10 top 5 maybe 6 tight ends.
Top 10. Let's go top 10. Let's not
right.
stretch
the potential to be, if he's used correctly.
Let's see what he can do with Caleb Williams.
Because how many times did we see him open on a slant that Fields couldn't hit him on, or didn't hit him?
The potential is there. To an extension for a reason, but let's just see what he can do with Caleb Williams. So I'm fine with that. And I agree with you. He's a top 10 tight end. Not top 5, top 10.
Top 10 who has a seat, who can advance. The potential is there.
I will take a top 10 tight end right now. I am more concerned about Bears football and get me the running game.
And how about we
And
get
we've got a number
fucking
one
center?
receiver. We've got a number one receiver, so we don't have to worry about it. We got DJ Moore.
Yeah,
So
there you
no
go.
worries.
And
We're
how
set.
about we
We're
actually
done.
get a center who can actually maybe help a rookie quarterback decipher a defense and be able to actually frickin' block?
Well, I told you, I did not like the Cody Whitehair dumping him. I did not like that at all.
Whitehair was so much better than that doofus they brought in from Green Bay. Was it Lucas Patrick? That
Yeah.
was a freaking disaster.
Yeah, I still don't quite understand why they felt they had to pull the panic button, pull the trigger, push the panic button on Cody Whitehair.
Because he's not Paul's guy.
And I hate that shit too. And again, even though I agree that they should move on from Justin Fields, the whole logic of it's not Paul's.
That's bullshit.
That's not how you run a business.
That is bullshit.
If a CEO comes in, but there are valuable assets there, yes, you cut the fat. You get rid of the lazy ones. You get rid of the ones.
You keep your high performers.
Yes, you don't just wipe the slate clean.
Because you're coming in fresh, and that doesn't work that way.
No. Well, we called it. But of course, most people called it. Jason Kelce has officially retired.
Yep.
From the Eagles with the tearful
goodbye.
Conference. Very eloquent at many
Yeah.
points. I give him credit for that. But again, he's got this podcast with Travis.
He knows what he's doing.
Not quite as good as ours, but still. But tolerable.
Tolerable, yes. He's not a babbling idiot. He's an intelligent player.
Yes. And those are few and far between. Because everybody, of course, has a podcast. Again, none quite as good as ours, but some of these athletes, whether it's the NBA, the NFL players that get out there and do the podcasts, and yes, they have a built-in audience, and fuck them for that, by the way, but they can't put two sentences together, two coherent sentences together, and yet they get 10,000 followers.
Yeah, I know. It's
Jason
painful.
Kelce, at least, like you said,
Yep.
eloquent, very well spoken. He'll be, and it'd be shocking if he didn't get an offer
to do
Amazon,
a pregame, postgame, or becoming a play-by-play guy.
Maybe take over for
the color guy,
the DUI magnate Richard Sherman on Amazon.
There's a possibility there too.
The 49ers, of course, always, it seems like here lately, on the cusp of being able to win a Super Bowl, but they can't quite get there. Of course, criticisms fly about Kyle Shanahan. Can he coach in a big game? Is he good enough to win the Super Bowl? Now, most of us would be happy to have actually gotten to
get to this point. Again, it's like the old argument with Marty Schottenheimer.
Mm-hmm. And Kyle Shanahan's done better.
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan's gotten to 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, Schottenheimer, how many great teams did he have with Kansas City and San Diego?
Yep.
But never could get past the conference championship.
So the 49ers promote Nick Sorensen. Promote from within. He will take over as defensive coordinator. They needed to make a change. Steve Wilkes, that defense did not play well down the stretch.
No, he did not motivate those guys to play to their full potential.
However, we're all for promoting from within. That's good. But the 49ers also did bring in one Brandon Staley as an assistant head coach.
Oh my God. Why? What the hell is Shanahan thinking bringing Staley in?
Does this enhance some people's opinion that he is not the guy to run the 49ers?
Yeah, but why would you bring in Staley?
That's what I'm saying. bringing in Staley is telling the critics you were right. Look at you. You're not bringing in a proven winner here. You're bringing in a guy who mismanaged games
Yeah.
late in the fourth quarter and overtimes.
Yeah.
And doesn't that seem to
That's
align with
that
the knock on
Shanahan
Shanahan?
doesn't know what the hell he's doing as a head coach.
There you go.
As an offensive coordinator, genius.
Shanahan.
Yes. But again, as we've talked about so many times, not everybody is cut out to be a head coach. Some people should just be coordinators.
And this has got to be. And I love John Lynch. You know this because I'm a Buccaneers fan after the Bears. I love John Lynch, and he has proven to be one of those guys that came off the field, was able to move into the front office, and he's great. He has put
He's
together
a good
an
personnel guy.
unbelievable roster for that team. Now, maybe a little lucky with Brock Purdy to save all that money, but when does his patience run out?
Yeah, it's got to be coming.
I think this year. I think this is it.
Because
the 49ers do not win it this year.
They're getting close to having to be over the cap.
And the window. The
window is closing quickly.
Well, you're going to have to pay Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
A couple years down the road. Kittle's getting older. Deebo Samuel can't stay healthy.
No, you've got another year with this team as is.
Yeah, they've got to make a run this year. Other players, we talked earlier about the franchise tag. Of course, we were selfish talking about our Bears. Now we'll move on to other teams. Josh Allen, Jacksonville edge rusher, tagged Michael Pittman Jr., Colts wide receiver. Boy,
really? You're wasting a tag on him?
And $21 million. What it's going to cost.
I don't know that I would have wasted the tag on him like that.
His numbers are good, though. I agree with you, but his numbers are good.
They're good, but is he worth that much?
L'Jarius Sneed, Kansas City cornerback. We talked about this. We figured it was either going to be him or the defensive lineman.
Yeah.
Brian Burns, Carolina edge rusher. Mike Evans with the Buccaneers gets an extension. Yep. Mike Evans, now we talked just here about Pittman with the Colts getting tagged. Franchise tag pays him over $21 million. Mike Evans gets a 2-year, $52 million extension, 35 guaranteed. So this is where the value is. The running backs can complain all they want about being devalued, but the wide receivers
are overvalued.
Yes.
Big time overvalued. Now, this is for Evans in Tampa. This is probably his last deal.
Yeah.
So this keeps him as a Buck from start to finish.
Yep. Yep. And we'll talk a little bit about his college quarterback later. But I'm not going to pull the trigger on I fucking told you so, but I want to. Because I really, truly believe that I was telling everybody, Manziel didn't make Evans.
Evans made Manziel. We have talked about, we didn't think Manziel deserved to win the Heisman. Because he was one of these doofuses who just turned his head as he torqued his body and just threw it up for Evans to grab. Never looked to see where the damn ball was going.
Yep.
Always made horrible decisions.
Evans was a physical specimen. He was an Adonis. He was the perfect frame. Tall, built, mobile, could jump, could leap for the ball.
Yeah, because those were awful passes Manziel threw.
Yep.
And Evans came down with them.
I'm not gonna claim that I fucking told you so.
But we did.
Way back
in the day.
I want to say we did.
We said that he shouldn't have won the Heisman, and he never should have been drafted as high as he was.
And
at all.
Evans was the star of that team, not Manziel. So I am happy. I am glad he's back. Now they work on Baker Mayfield. They're going to, I assume they're going to have to bring him back too.
You would
Oh my
imagine they
God.
would.
Again, I was doing all my cap work today with all these moves. Oh my Lord. I looked at the Buccaneers cap, and they're fine in terms of being under the cap. But we discussed Baker Mayfield looks for Mike Evans.
Right.
And Chris Godwin had a down year, and it doesn't seem like they have that connection.
That's something
chemistry.
they would have to work on.
Chris Godwin's number on the cap, $25 million.
Whoa, you better get him the damn ball this coming year.
And they can't get rid of him. They can't.
No.
See, that's
Baker and Godwin better work together.
That's a contract that came from the fact that Brady loved him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because
that was
he was
his
like the Wes
go-to guy.
Welker. He was like the Julian Edelman, the Wes Welker.
He's the outlet guy.
Yeah. And Baker Mayfield still hasn't figured out how to use that outlet yet. But you can't get rid of Chris Godwin, so you better damn well figure out how to use him.
Because if you start throwing underneath to him, that opens up Evans deeper.
Opens
on
up
the
Cade
outside.
Otton, the tight end.
Yep.
Rashad White gets more running lanes. Franchise tag for the Buccaneers.
Why do we have to run everything?
I know. Every week we tell you people we should be running everything. Franchise tag safety Antoine Winfield. Buccaneers painful cut. Had to let go of Shaq Barrett. And you want to talk about massive dead cap? Cutting Shaq Barrett got him $5 million in relief this year. Okay? I don't understand this. Again, we should be running everything. Shaq Barrett, his cut saves him $5 million this year. $26.7 million dead cap money between 2024 and 2025. How does that make any financial sense? I would never want to own a professional franchise with this type of garbage.
No, this is ridiculous.
Oh my God. I kind of empathize with Jerry Jones wanting to run the whole deal. If it's my money,
then I'm going to make the decisions and live and die with it.
But there are some decisions Jerry Jones has made that he's going to have to live and die with. And that includes,
and it's really going to cost him.
That includes taking a paternity test ordered by a judge after his appeal was rejected, going back to 2022. A young woman claims that Jerry Jones impregnated her mother, a flight attendant. Go figure. So we will see if Jerry Jones has a new heir involved when it comes to the Cowboys in the future.
Does it really surprise you?
No. We've dealt with Rick Pitino. These guys are just dirtbags. Egotistical dirtbags. There are exceptions to the rule, but for the most part, egotistical dirtbags. Now, we talked about the combine, right?
And this year really becoming the slow death of the combine as we know it.
Right. Not a lot of news came out of the combine. Texas wide receiver Xavier Worthy sets the combine record for a 4.21 40. But if you look back in history at all these players who have set records, long jump, 40, and look and see the names,
how many of them have actually done anything? Yeah.
So that tells you how little the combine, the records, quote unquote,
they don't mean jack. Just because you're athletic doesn't mean you can play.
So, of course, next Wednesday, will be huge because as the new league year begins, we will have another full 30, 40 minutes, all about the NFL, all the cap casualties, all the free agent signings, because the legal tampering period begins late
Such a
Sunday, early
joke.
Monday.
Just stop with the semantic bullshit.
Just call it what it is. You can talk and negotiate with anybody you want.
It's the negotiation period. Come on.
But let's move on. Let's talk basketball. Lots again this week going on in the world of basketball. Start off with the pros.
Celtics. Holy crap. 2 50-plus point wins, and then they have an emotional letdown and lose to the Cavs.
Yep. Yeah, I believe they set the record this year for the most 50-point wins.
Yeah, they got 3 this year. 2 was the record before, and they had back-to-back. Crazy.
Yep. Yeah, they are the team to beat. Definitely are the team to beat. Of course, my Magic. This is what I was hoping for. Looking at the schedule, they are hitting a lot of the dregs of the league, and they are taking advantage. This is what they needed to do.
That's what you have to do.
So they're playing the Wizards tonight, the 9-52 Wizards. At 36-26, they are tied for 4th in the East. So they need to stack these wins before the last couple weeks when they play some stiffer competition. But again, the Wizards 9-52 tonight scares me to hell because it's a road game,
trap game.
They're on a 15-game losing streak. Those aren't the teams you want to play.
No. That's going to be a fight.
It sounds counterintuitive, but no, because the streak's going to end sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
So hopefully the Magic focus.
One more time here.
Clippers, Russell Westbrook, heading to the Hall of Fame someday. Broke his hand, out indefinitely, hand surgery.
Ouch.
And again, the Clippers are just an amalgam of superstars
that
can't really figure out how good they are.
There's no chemistry.
Because you got Kawhi Leonard, you got James Harden.
You got a bunch of superstars who don't know how to play a role within a team framework. They're all used to being the go-to person, and they can't figure out how to play together.
Well, it should tell you, with all the big-name stars we just mentioned that are on the Clippers, the Timberwolves and the Thunder are the top 2 teams in the West. And I dare you to name more than 2 star players from both the teams combined.
Yeah. There you go. Gone, or the super teams just aren't working right now.
Oh, but Dave. Oh, Dave, we have to pay tribute. Oh, the greatest basketball player of all time.
What'd Jordan do?
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah. What? Bird? Kareem? Jordan? Magic? They're back? What?
Dr. J?
Oh, you did that for me. Thank you. Dave knows Dr. J is my favorite of all time. Dr. J and Shaq. No, LeBron James reached a milestone, and I agree, could be very hard to catch. 40,000 points. And again, this is not counting playoffs. This is regular season points. Because the NBA does not count playoff points, playoff stats in the career stats, the ones that set the records, the ones that matter. You want to hear something really depressing, though? I mean, ungodly depressing.
What?
Considering when we grew up and the basketball we watched. So LeBron James passes 40,000 points. That is more than Larry Bird and Magic Johnson combined.
Good Lord. Yeah, but what made Johnson and Bird great, they were clutch shooters. They were also teammates who knew when to pass the ball. Those were complete teams that they played on. And you look at their assists as well.
Well, and you look at the people they played with.
Yeah.
Because
That's why I said with
how
the
many
teams.
points went to McHale, went to Parrish, went to DJ for the Celtics? How
Yeah.
many points went to Kareem, went to Cooper?
Yeah.
I mean, there were other players. LeBron is all about LeBron.
Yeah. Come hell or high water. Well, hell, you forgot the Celtics lead man in Ainge.
So we move on to the college game. And we have to absolutely, completely, totally give props, kudos, credit. I would have put her in as a Clint Eastwood badass of the week, but it almost doesn't seem like enough. Caitlin Clark.
Let's stop the whole she got to play as a freshman, she got to play in the 3-point era.
Right. Yeah, and the whole Pistol Pete comparisons. Just let it go. Two different eras altogether. Caitlin Clark is fantastic.
Accept the game for what it is today.
She sets the NCAA scoring record, 3,685 points, not done yet.
Nope.
And she's also declaring for the WNBA draft. I don't know why. Why would you want to go to the WNBA?
To keep playing. She enjoys the game.
Well, and she's probably getting a ton more from endorsements than she
Yeah.
is in terms of NIL money in college or what she'll get in a salary when she gets to the WNBA.
Yeah.
But she is, and you might think, because we're politically incorrect and you think I'm a fucknut, and I'm sure you all hate me. You love Dave, but you hate me, and that's fine. I am not a misogynist. I'm not a racist. I think Caitlin Clark is the best goddamn thing to happen to basketball in probably 2 or 3 decades. A genuine, honest to God, feel good story.
Not
we can all root
somebody
for.
tugging your heartstrings for sympathy for making a stupid fucking decision.
And again, God damn the people who try to tear her down and rip her down. The racists, the people who are threatened by her because she's a woman, all of you can go to hell.
Just stop. Accept her for the great athlete that she is.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's because she plays for Iowa in the Big Ten. Iowa usually considered a lower tier school, even in the Big Ten.
Doesn't play for the racist Dawn Staley. Yes, we all know South Carolina's second perfect regular season in a row. Again, we do pay attention to women's sports when they matter. But again, Dave just said it perfectly. Great story, never bitches, never pisses, never moans, never complains, goes out there, plays the game, does her job. God, I would love to see her beat South Carolina. God, I would love to see Iowa. I will watch that game. I will watch that game.
That would make my year.
God, I would love to see that. And then, of course, we move over to the men. Nothing really to talk about. Of course, we're only a few weeks away from the tournament beginning. Then things get interesting. The teams we follow suck. Notre Dame 12-18, Miami 15-14, Dartmouth officially unionized.
Blah. Stupid.
That's all we got to say about that. The NHL trade deadline is coming Friday. Lots of deals today. But really, do we care? I
Not
didn't see
really.
anything involving the Blackhawks.
No,
So
they're not going to do anything. I mean, come on.
you don't think they're going to give up any players
No.
for draft picks or anything like that? Or
Who are they going to trade? They sure as hell aren't getting rid of Bedard. They might trade somebody, defense, a secondary for it. I don't know. We'll have to see.
well, as of tonight, they are 16-42, 5 points on ties, 37 points total. Still
Same
tied.
as the Sharks.
Yep.
And the Sharks still have 2 fewer games played. The only bright spot for the Blackhawks is Bedard's sweater is the #1 seller in the NHL.
They're fine. They'll be fine. You just have to give it a
It's going to be a few years.
couple
We knew this.
Yep.
Because Dan Bowman was a piece of crap GM who gave out stupid contracts and put them in cap hell where they weren't able to keep anybody.
The New Jersey Devils fired their head coach, Lindy Ruff. Not mistaken, I believe that Lindy Ruff is in the top 5 all time in coaching wins. So,
Yep, and he's a retread.
Right.
One who just keeps running from team to team like they all do.
Yep. All right, moving on to baseball.
Good to me.
I guess it's a good thing that the White Sox bailed on Lucas Giolito.
Yep, it's looking like he may have to undergo Tommy John surgery. Red Sox are looking for a second opinion, but
Now, this would be his second time, right? I thought he underwent Tommy John earlier.
I don't recall.
But yeah, they're saying a possible UCL tear.
Yep, could be more than likely done for the season.
The thing about that deal, yes, with baseball, they're all guaranteed contracts. 1-year deal. Yes, it destroys the Red Sox season in terms of he was supposed to be their #1.
Yeah.
And they already traded away Chris Sale, another guy with elbow issues. So now the Boston Red Sox are looking at another year, possibly staring down last place. In the AL East.
Yeah. Giolito underwent Tommy John surgery in 2012, 2 months after the Nationals selected him in the draft. There you go.
I am right every once in a while. Every once in a while, Dave, I get it right.
Yes, you do. Now, are the Red Sox going to pony up for Montgomery or Snell?
They should. They've got the money.
That's
the thing.
They
now
have the money
Red
to
Sox
do it.
all of a sudden are acting like paupers and they traded away a couple years ago Mookie Betts. They let Bogarts go. Yeah, they're acting like they're a lower tier team in terms of payroll.
They're acting like the Orioles.
They should bring in both Snell and Montgomery. The price is not going to get any lower for those two.
No. You got what's there. Go for it. And hey, the Yankees with Carlos Rodon, that signing's still biting him in the ass through spring so far. Nothing on his fastball. Nah.
And they can't do anything because
they can't.
They are #1 in salary number. So they're already over the luxury tax threshold.
They can't drop him and still have to pay him to bring anybody else
and they can't go out and bring in Blake Snell. We talked about this. Because if you give Blake Snell 30, it's going to cost you 60.
Yep. 30 for him and 30 for the tax.
Yep. So they're stuck. They cannot
they got what
do
they
anything.
Got, and that's all there is to it.
But again, good point with the Red Sox. Why wouldn't the Red Sox go out and just go, let's go for it this year?
Yeah. Do the 3-year deal with player options after the first and second, like
I
the
go out
Cubs
there,
did with
if
Bellinger.
I'm the Red Sox, I go out there and say, I'm going to go out and get Montgomery. Yeah, because that's where Boris's clients are going right now. The 1-year deal with the opt-outs.
Yeah.
They 3-year deal,
Give
4-year
him
deal, but they have opt-outs every year. Go ahead, go for it.
get that one.
Bury the Rays. Bury the Rays. Wander Franco is still in jail for screwing a 12-year-old. They lost one of their big stars.
Yeah, they're done. The Yankees aren't.
Toronto has never been able to figure out how to put that team together, despite the fact they've got some great young players.
They have a manager issue.
The Yankees have a manager issue.
That too.
The only team to me that's an obstacle is the Orioles. Go out and just beat the shit out of them this year.
Yep, you've got the
Go
money to
for
do
it. Go for it.
Go all in. You've got nothing to lose. You got the money for it. You're not going to get on the hook for a long-term deal.
Again, we should be running the whole deal. Every team, every league. Now, speaking of a Boris client, the Giants signed third baseman Matt Chapman, 3 years, $54 million, and of course, just like the Cody Bellinger deal, opt out.
Yep.
$20 million first year, opt out. $18 million second, opt out. $16 million.
The Red
third.
Sox do the same thing with Snell and Montgomery.
I am with you 100%. Why not go for it? It's there for the taking. I agree with you. Rodon is a weak link in that rotation. You've got to stop depending on Garrett Cole.
Yeah, he's not going. How much does he still have in the tank?
And he's a great pitcher.
He
You got to
is.
admit, he's a great pitcher.
He's a great pitcher.
But Stroman is their next option after that?
Yeah, you don't know what you're going to get there. He couldn't handle the pressure in New York when he was with the Mets. Now he's with the Yankees where it's amped up even more.
And then the Phillies. What are the Phillies doing? Good Lord. Zach Wheeler gets a 3-year, $126 million extension.
That's ridiculous.
Average annual value of $42 million, only topped by the stupid, idiotic deals that the Mets gave out to Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander just last year.
Do these idiots not learn? Be a student of history. Stop making the same damn mistakes over and over again.
And I'm sorry, I understand how important a pitcher is, but they're more important in the postseason. And you've got to get them through 162 games to get them to the postseason. They pitch every 5th day.
And they're not even going beyond 4 or 5 innings anymore. These guys are wusses. They don't have the arm strength and stamina.
Because, again, they're scared of what happens to Lucas Giolito. They're scared of what happens to Chris Sale.
Yeah.
Because they don't know how to throw a ball.
They're not working out right. They're not doing things the right way.
There's something wrong. Because I could sit here and say they don't throw the ball like Greg Maddux or Kyle Hendricks. But then Nolan Ryan never had arm issues.
No.
What the hell was...
Good Lord.
Are you going to tell me he was a genetic freak?
Randy Johnson?
Another great example. Guys throwing 100 miles an hour and their careers lasted... Nolan Ryan's lasted forever and a day.
Yeah.
But even Randy Johnson lasted close to 20 years.
Yeah. It's
a
crapshoot.
Something is wrong. Something is wrong in how they're teaching these guys to throw the ball, the preparation, the discipline.
The arm strength isn't there. And they're doing these... It's when they're getting cute with their pitch creation. How about you just throw the basic pitches? Stop trying to dink around with new shit and arm angles and everything else. The arm angles are what's ruining everybody.
Yeah, I'm gonna start to learn a flip-flop sliding knuckleball this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go from over the top to submarine to 3/4 to side and tweak and twist the way it's
Torque,
not
yep.
supposed to go.
Yep. And again, this could come back to something I've always had a problem with. The players have too much power. The coaches can't go in and say, stop trying to do things this way. Focus on a curveball, a slider, a fastball, and that's
Fastball, curveball, slider, changeup.
That's
Four
it.
damn pitches.
That's it.
Learn to place it up, down, in, out.
That's it. That's all we want.
I don't need a screwball. I don't need the cutter. I don't need all this superfluous bullshit.
Yep. Yep.
You don't need 9 pitches in your repertoire.
No. Again, we should be running everything. Theme for this week, theme for every week. All right, moving on. Let's move on to college football. Oh, Dave. Oh, Dave.
Okay.
Oh, Dave. We talked about this last week, but the details now that have come out, oh boy. I think this could deserve a rant. We talked last week about how we're already negotiating for a 14-team college football playoff, but now the details could possibly be more egregious than we ever thought. On the table for the 14-team CFP playoff, which would take place 2 years from now. Because, we're locked into the 12 team. It hasn't even started yet.
How about we let it go and see how well it works?
But now the 14-team model that is out there.
Oh, do each of the Power 5 have to have their conference champion, their regular season champion, to give 10 and then just leave 4 open?
Here's what you get. The most popular model out there right now. The Big Ten, 3 guaranteed teams.
Bullshit.
The SEC, 3 guaranteed
Bullshit.
teams. The Big 12, 2.
Bullshit.
ACC, 2.
Bullshit.
The Group of 5 gets 1.
No.
And then the other 3 are at large. Oh, but the part
this
you're going to hate.
Fucking goddamn ridiculous.
No, it gets better, Dave. It gets better. You're right.
Oh, does the defending national champ get an automatic bid regardless with the first round bye?
Almost as bad. Because if you look at a 14-team bracket, 2 teams get buys, right? 2 teams would get buys. They're talking about giving those 2 buys to the Big Ten champion and the SEC champion.
Bullshit! No.
Automatic.
No.
Automatic buy.
No. Done. If they pull this shit, I am not watching. I'm done.
They don't care about the sport.
They don't. It's all about the money for the main 2 conferences. It's about the Big Ten and the SEC. Fuck everybody else.
And you wonder why you hear the rumblings about the Florida State team wanting to move, pulling Clemson and Miami with them. Just go to one big super conference.
Take the 14 best teams and be done with it.
Because this, to say you're going to automatically give a bye to the Big Ten champion and the SEC champion, regardless of record,
regardless of where they finish in the final standing, that is crap.
We got 2 years to fix this. 2 years.
Sane heads need to prevail. You talk about, they want to say that the NCAA was a big problem in Congress and all. How about they start going after the conferences? That's where the fucking problems are coming in right now.
Yeah, the Big Ten and the SEC. A couple years ago, we would have said just the SEC. But now all of a sudden the Big Ten decided they wanted to bulk up and play with the big boy. Go mano a mano. So now you got the two. And now the ACC and the Big 12 are on the outside looking in, and everybody else.
Fuck them. They
which
don't
is
count.
sad and pathetic. Oh, we'll throw a bone to the group of five and give them one automatic bid.
That's absolute garbage.
And you do realize now the group of five includes Oregon State and Washington State.
Yeah.
The dregs of the Pac-12.
The Pac-2?
Yeah. So they showed a projection of what the last year would have looked like. So the one group of five bid would have gone to Oregon State. That just doesn't sound right.
No, it's wrong on every freaking level.
Liberty, all these the smaller schools that go through the year undefeated or with one loss that should get a shot now as this
they're
playoff
automatically
expands.
Screwed.
No, we're going to take the fifth best team in the SEC.
We're going to get the mediocre SEC team who couldn't even qualify for the conference championship.
Yeah.
No. Dumber than shit.
All right, before I forget, I think we should do some Clint Eastwood badasses of the week. Let's turn things around because we're not all negative here.
We aren't.
No. Let's go for some positives. I've got two.
I've got one.
All right, why don't you go first?
Braylon Edwards, former Jets running back, goes to work out at his local YMCA. He's in the locker room and he hears a scuffle, turns around and sees a young guy getting ready to slam an 80-year-old man's head into the counter. And he steps in, saving the guy's life. Over loud music. Good for you, Braylon, for making a difference in the world and actually stepping up to do the right thing.
All right, so my two badasses. I am going to do two sports that we never, ever talk about.
Pickleball?
On that level. Shut up, dog. Tweaking our buddy, the governor, one of our panel members, who wants to do golf and pickleball and horse racing for our Penta Frenzy competition. No, we're going to start off with softball.
16-inch?
That's what she said, because we're talking about women's softball. See, we cover women's sports. Do not say we're misogynists. We cover women's sports. Talked about Caitlin Clark. Now we're talking about the Louisiana women's softball team and a monumental victory as they snapped Oklahoma's Division I record 71 game winning streak.
Damn.
71 game winning streak for Oklahoma. Congratulations to the Louisiana women's softball team.
Well done.
Kind of reminds you of the Notre Dame early 70s.
Taking out UCLA.
Yep. But we're not done with the obscure sports. Let's go to track and field.
Damn.
I know, I've got it all, don't I? And congratulations to U.S. hurdles champion Grant Holloway. Grant Holloway, here this past week, won his 76th consecutive 60-meter hurdles match.
Wow. That's dominance.
The last time Grant Holloway lost in the 60-meter hurdles was in 2014 when he was a sophomore in high school. So Grant Holloway, the
Kudos to you.
Louisiana women's softball team, you are my badasses of the week.
Well deserved. All right. Now, shifting gears to NASCAR here on Spotify, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Apple, Overcast, Castbox, Amazon, Audible, iHeart Sports Frenzy, baby.
That would be iHeartRadio for the rest of you normal people out there. Not saying Dave's not normal.
Some would argue.
Don't forget to check out the Facebook page
Yep.
each and every week for our NASCAR picks.
Yep, and remember, just a few short weeks left with Radio Public, so we just told you where to move if you're on that platform.
Absolutely. Absolutely correct, Dave. Yep, Facebook will have every weekend NASCAR picks, and then once baseball starts, our Field of Frenzy competition begins, and all of our picks week in, week out, every Sunday night, Monday morning, will also be on the Facebook page. Race 3 is done in the 2024 Cup season. Glad to see that ratings are up.
Yep. Another pretty good race.
Not as good as Atlanta. Not as good as
there
Atlanta.
wasn't the passing that you had at Atlanta.
Right.
Just from what I got to see, it looked decent. I had to work, so I missed all but the end.
It was a little dull. This was domination. This was domination. Now, I will say this. At the very end, if there had been 10 more laps in the race, Kyle Larson would not have won. I think Tyler Reddick would have caught him and beat him.
Reddick's car was coming to him on the long run.
Right. And he acknowledged after the race, Larson, the last 5-7 laps, knew where to move, how to keep the lead, but it would not have lasted.
No.
That being said, as we just said, Kyle Larson dominated at Las Vegas. Max points. So Dave and I very happy about that, as well as Sam and Bill.
Yep.
In our new system, our new friendly...
We're locked in, baby!
Yeah, our new family-friendly, snowflake system. Everybody gets a trophy system.
A trophy for
you. I hate this. I fucking hate this. And I'm in. I just qualified and I hate it.
Well, you're dominating everything anyway.
What are you talking about? We just started a new season. I'm not dominating. There's no competition now.
No, there isn't. And I went...
Now it's all about positioning. All right, 3 races in, and you and I and Bill and Sam, it's going to be all about positioning.
How many more wins can we get?
How many more stage points? How many more, how far up in the standings can we get to get the bonus points when the playoffs start? I
Vary the competition.
You don't make it any fun if you don't qualify.
Guess what? If you qualify, you're going to get eliminated.
I blame Sam for this. I will never forgive him for this.
For quitting?
Never, ever forgive him for this.
Quitting halfway
2 years ago. For quitting. He's the one that started this.
Yep. Oh, I don't have a chance. I'm going to quit.
And then last year, even though we put
Bill
incentives in, we put incentives in. We did this decades ago. We said, if you don't make it to the Frenzy Cup playoffs, then what we will do is if you can get more wins in the final 10 races than everybody else, then we take you out.
Yeah. Then at the next meeting, your bill is paid for by everybody else.
Yes. It was either a movie night out or we paid your bar tab. No, it's not good enough. It's not good enough.
Well, suck it.
God, sometimes I just hate everybody. My friends included. Not you, though.
No, because I was with you. I did not want to do this.
But you and I, Sam and Bill, are all in now. We're guaranteed locked in with our win with Kyle Larson.
Yeah, and we got the 2 biggest crybabies locked in right now with Sam and Bill.
The oldest. The oldest crybabies. How about that? It's not even the younger snowflakes, the millennials. It's the crybaby older people.
So there you go.
Do I get an AARP bag if I win a race? Do I get a discount?
No, we'll give you a new colostomy, though.
Do I get a discount at Shoney's? What do I get? Do I get free pancakes at IHOP? What do I get?
How about a buy one, get one lunch at Bill Knapp's?
I like the colostomy thing, though. That's pretty good. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Joey Logano had the pole. So, for what that's worth,
Gloveless.
William Byron had a really good car, but man, gets
Boy,
basically a tarp on his car
Lord,
at one point.
That damn trash bag.
Yeah, a massive trash bag. And then they say later on after
the race, they pulled a beer can out of the air cleaner.
Yep. So, not a good day for William Byron. But in other racing news, the Sonoma repaving is complete. So that will be interesting to see how that impacts the wine country race this year, the road track.
I want to see them run the full track. Not the NASCAR track. I want them to run the full track.
You know, that's not happening.
If you want to make it interesting.
The F1 season began, Dave.
Whoop-de-friggin' do.
Guess who won?
Oh, gee, would that be Mr. Verstappen?
Yeah,
continuing his role.
The Bahrain Grand Prix. First race of the F1 season. And I was kind of like paying attention online. And just ridiculous. It's not even a competition.
It's not. It's overhyped crap.
Now, I don't normally like to do this, and I will do this on the weekend edition as well, so I'm warning you right now. We like to point out all instances of blatant, obvious racism and reverse racism wherever we find it. I don't like to point out somebody winning something just because of the color of their skin, because we need to get beyond this. We need to get over this and not make it a big deal, because then it won't be a big deal.
Right.
But Rajay Caruth, the third African-American to win a NASCAR national race. Of course, this past weekend won the Trucks race, the Truck Series race, joining Wendell Scott, and of course, my favorite racer, Bubba Wallace. Noose! No, what? Sorry, I didn't say that. But congrats to Rajay Caruth. And then, what I really wanted to kind of put this in the dumbasses of the week. I was very close. Very, very close. Because anybody who listens to us talk about NASCAR knows we like the Fox coverage. Even though Kevin Harvick has been a little slow getting going here, getting the chemistry going with Clint Boyer.
You still have Boyer and Joy.
Yeah.
Who are great. Phenomenal.
Who are great. Clint Boyer is so much fun.
And Mike Joy is brilliant.
Yeah. Clint Boyer is Tony Romo if Tony Romo was actually fun and intelligent. But NBC, we've talked about second half of the season. And then next year, of course, we bring in the streamers, and that's a subject for another day. But NBC's coverage has been lacking for NASCAR fans like Dave and I, to say the least. Well, now it's getting worse. Now it gets worse. Because they decided to nickel and dime the one guy that people wanted to tune in and listen to. Dale Earnhardt Jr. told NBC basically to fuck off.
Yep, you're not going to pay me what I'm worth. Bye-bye.
So Dale Earnhardt Jr. will not be working for NBC here in 2024. He will be working for the streamers Warner Brothers Discovery, and
Yep.
Amazon in 2025. But my God, that is a
Why?
massive gap.
It is. Now Steve Letarte is going to have carte blanche to ramble incoherently.
On and on and on and
And on
on
and
and on
on
and
and
on.
on. Oh my God.
A friend of mine said, well, you got Jeff Burton, just bring Warburton in.
Mushmouth. Just bring in Warburton. He could talk about NASCAR all day long.
You gotta do something. You gotta do something. You've gotta do something. Jesus God.
Letarte is so bad. So bad.
All right. So that takes us to race 4 of the 2024 NASCAR Cup season. March the 10th this Sunday.
Head to the desert.
The Shriners Children's 500.
Or back to the desert, I should say. They were in the desert in Vegas. Now we shift a little south to Phoenix.
Yep. The first of 2 races in Phoenix. Of course, the championship race is held in Phoenix. Now, Dave and I were discussing this. The weather between, if you look at the results for the fall race versus the spring race, is there really that much of a difference between the weather in Arizona in mid-March and mid-November?
Depends on which way the wind's blowing.
Yeah, that's what she said. So, I guess we've got a little more latitude now since we're already locked into the playoffs, Dave. So we can just do whatever the hell we want.
Throw it out the window.
So 7 of our 8 panelists have their picks in. Here we go.
Son of a biscuit. There we go. Well, I guess I will tell you who I'm taking, along with Sam and Aaron. We're going with William Lord Byron.
Yeah, hopefully another tarp
won't.
Yeah.
You know, seeing how he's run the first part of the season here, and this is a solid track for him, and as good a car as he had at Vegas despite the trash bag, they should come back with a solid run.
Well, I'm not going to dispute the pick. I will say this. If you look at straight statistics for Phoenix, you're a moron. Because I'll tell you why. Because
outside of Kevin Harvick.
Well, you got to remember, now that it's the championship race, I'm talking about the last couple years. Last couple years, you cannot take the fall race for a grain of salt when it comes to the people competing for the NASCAR Cup title. Because, again, big flaw with the setup they've got here. Get out of the way. Just let the championship drivers, the playoff drivers, and you don't interfere with them.
Bullshit. I
so
don't like that.
Skews the results.
Big time.
The stats in favor of them. I am going with Ross Chastain.
That was my second pick.
I love the way the Melon Man is running. He's pissing people off. That means everything's going well. He has won. He won the last fall race, the championship race, even though he was not in the Final Four. He has run very well in the fall. And again, I find the weather difference negligible. I will tell you now, since we've got our picks in, the other driver who I was thinking about, who runs very well, hasn't won in the spring, Tyler Reddick. And he looked really good last week.
He did. That was my third choice.
Yep. I was debating between Chastain and Reddick. So just like last week, where I told you if Kyle Busch had won in Vegas,
wouldn't have been surprised.
I will say if Reddick wins in Phoenix, I will be pissed off. I'm going with the Melon Man, though. Going with Ross Chastain. Couple other picks.
We have Bill and Doug doubling up with Joey Logano, seeing if he can finally come through.
Yeah, but Nick takes a safe pick. Former champion, current champion,
Ryan
Blaney. Jen's pick still pending. Of course, we still got a couple hours to go before our deadline. So there you go, everybody. There is your racing segment for the week. Couple little notes before we move on to America's favorite game show.
I've got one piece that I think belongs in the cesspool of the week. The most heinous douchebag possible. The Kansas City judge who commuted Brett Reed's sentence.
I did not hear this.
Yep, the judge said, oh, he's serving more than anybody else who's had this DUI situation, so he's served enough. He's going to be under house arrest now for the remainder, and then probation. So he is out of jail for destroying a little girl's life on his second conviction.
I am not going to do it again. I've done it. I've talked about this. I've ranted about this time and time again.
I just have to call this fucking judge out.
And this is why Dave and I don't compare notes either here or on the weekend edition, because we want true, honest, heartfelt reactions to inconsequential things like movie reviews or ridiculously pathetic rulings like this. And I did not know about this. And if you have not listened to this show over the last year or two, you don't get how passionate I am with my hatred for this situation, for the cover-up, for the kiss-ass nature of the sports media, for, oh, Andy Reid, oh, cheeseburger-loving, walrus mustache Andy Reid, who enabled his son to destroy this young girl's life. And now a fucking judge says, it's okay. It's okay, let him go.
Yeah.
Minor restrictions, it's okay. None of us would get away with this. We'd be in jail forever, getting our asses pounded by the Aryan Nation. But Britt Reed gets away with it again. And again and again, because of his enabling parents and the fact that his dad is a Super Bowl winning coach. God, I hate this.
I bet you Andy and the judge worked it out over those nuggies. Fucking hate those damn commercials.
Every time I see those commercials, I throw up in my mouth.
Yep, because he is a piece of garbage.
This is not a situation where the son was off on his own, living in another city.
No, he was coming from the frickin' Chiefs complex,
where he drank himself into a stupor. And supposedly his father is the guy overseeing the complex, the operations of the Kansas City Chiefs at the time.
The personnel on staff.
And this is where Sports Frenzy does its work. This is where Dave and I will not bow down to the mass media. And we will call this like we see it, which again
is absolute crap. This judge should not be allowed on the bench anymore.
And like Dave said, you watch the State Farm commercials with, oh, jovial Andy Reid and his walrus mustache and his cheeseburgers and his nuggies. Googly moogly. And you remember his son, under his watch, destroyed a young girl's life. You remember that. You remember that. And think about it, if it was your child, how would you feel about it? How does the parents of this girl feel about this bullshit?
Oh, they are pissed beyond belief.
I'm pissed beyond belief. Think about your children if this had happened to your child. How would you feel about this? And once again, this country never acknowledges the victims, only praises the perpetrators because they're rich and famous and they're celebrities.
It's got to end.
Oh, God. God, I hate that.
I know, that's why it needed its own special place.
I know. And I had to be done. Had to be done. Man, God, that makes me mad. All right. I have to give out an acknowledgement. Let's run with the negativity. Locally here, of course, the Sports Frenzy studios are in northern Indiana. And despite the fact that I believe I have a very substantial educational background, now the high school that I went to is shutting down forever. So I have to acknowledge the last basketball game ever played by
The
the
Colonials.
Colonials, Clay High School here in South Bend, Indiana. Once proud. I remember when I was there.
They won the state championship.
Tom Uhas, Sutherland. Oh my God. I remember all those guys, all those players. Sharkey was a friend of mine. He's kind of like the token fifth white guy, but Brett Wolf, I believe, was on that team as well. I knew him. Not very well, but still. And now the high school is shutting down forever. So late 50s. So maybe it doesn't really matter all that much in terms of resumes. Oh, where'd you go to high school? Well, it doesn't exist anymore. But kudos, props for great memories to Clay High School, and especially the Clay High basketball team. As Dave said, they had a great run. Tom DeBates, I believe, was the head coach.
Yep.
For the Colonials when they won. Carlos Diggins was, and of course his daughter, Skylar, was a huge star for Notre Dame, went on to the WNBA.
Yep. So there you go.
So we pull it all together. Pull it all together, kids.
Yep. But before we play, we have a big moment of silence for one of the top sports reporters. Covered the NFL forever for ESPN. Unfortunately, Chris Mortensen recently retired, lost his battle with cancer.
And we all knew for a long time. A long time.
He suffered for years.
You could tell he lost a lot of weight. He just did not look great here over the last 3 or 4 years. They tried to, as ESPN is not my go-to anymore. I find them to be pretty pathetic now in terms of their coverage of sports, but they tried to, as graciously as they could, shift everything over to Adam Schefter, but still keep Chris Mortensen in the loop.
Yep. And Schefter did a nice job paying him homage.
Yep. Yeah. This is the one big, massive moment of silence. And back when ESPN was good 20 years ago, Chris Mortensen was the de facto go-to insider for all your NFL news, trades, anything that was going on in the NFL. Chris Mortensen knew what was going on, and by all accounts, not a bad word to be said about him.
No, not at all. So, thoughts and prayers to his family and friends.
Now, here's a little transition before we get to the game show. I can't put this in as a dumbass of the week, but for the best interest of you and the Sports Frenzy public, I need to bring this up. A couple of weeks ago, we had something known as the inaugural Florida Man Games. So I want to bring this up because this sounds ridiculous.
What did it include the 100-yard trailer crawl?
You're on the right track.
Did it include who made the best trailer meth?
I'll give you a couple examples. You're close. You're really close.
Did it include glass blowing the perfect meth pipe?
I will give you a couple examples of what some of the competitions were. There was a bike race where you had to weave in and out of obstacles as you held a, quote, stolen catalytic converter. And
bicycle or motorcycle?
Bicycle.
Perfect.
Bicycle. And there was also sumo wrestling, but while you were sumo wrestling, you had to hold a pitcher of beer.
Come on! Everybody knows. Hold my beer, watch this. You don't hold your own.
I hope the Florida Man games continue on in perpetuity, because this sounds unbelievably fun. Unbelievably fun.
Oh, I think we need to create some of the games ourselves.
The Northern Indiana version?
No, just for them. Like the 100-yard trailer crawl, trying to escape from the police under the trailers.
Oh, God, we watch too much OP Live.
Yes, we do.
So what better way than the Florida Man games to lead us into...
That is the ultimate pivot
to America's favorite game show. Of course, normally, I feel bad because we need to honor our heritage, our sports frenzy heritage.
With Frenzy 5-0?
No, we need, well, that goes back to the whole crawling out of the meth trailer and the catalytic converter. No, we got to remember, kids, you got to remember that this segment is always the Red Foreman dumb asses of the week. But now, of course, we've turned it into a game show.
That's right.
But never forget, first and foremost, it is the Red Foreman dumb asses of the week. Kind of like on the weekend edition, which you need to check out every Saturday morning.
Because in the words of the great Red Foreman, the way these guys are screwing up their lives, death would be a sweet release.
Yes. And any of you out there who remember us from 30 years ago on cable access will understand exactly what Dave's talking about. Kudos to our great producer back then, by the way, Tim Richardson and the Monkey Man.
monkey boy.
But now we've kind of morphed it. Two-man show here.
We grow with the times. Yep. We evolve. We're not heathens. We're not Neanderthals.
No. So now I will give and Dave will receive.
Wait a minute.
So we have 5 contestants this week in America's favorite game show, Red Foreman's Dumbass or Not.
Let us begin.
All right. Somebody we mentioned earlier in the show, the great and the glorious Heisman Trophy winner, Johnny Manziel, who I think Dave and I both agree, not worthy. Not worthy.
Not even close.
You're not worthy. You're not worthy. Oh, Johnny Manziel's boycotting the Heisman ceremony from here on out unless they give Reggie Bush his Heisman back.
Manziel's a dumbass. You really think anybody cares about your point of view? You're not even invited to be part of the Heisman house, for crying out loud. Just go away. Go away.
That's what I was thinking. It's like, is there any Heisman winner who has less impact on their... Archie Griffin won it twice. I mean, that dude would be important if, going back.
Come on.
in history and, the greats.
Yeah.
But
no, Johnny is an idiot. We all know it.
some of the more recent winners don't have quite the
Cachet.
Yeah.
The gravitas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you look at the history of the Heisman, does not translate at all to success in the NFL. Not even close.
No.
All right, we've talked about softball. We have talked about the 60-meter hurdles, stuff we never talk about.
Are we going to the pool?
No, we're going to soccer.
Oh, God.
MLS. This past weekend, Major League Soccer had a match, whatever, in the pitch, whatever the hell they call it. Real Salt Lake played the LAFC in the middle of a raging snowstorm. And they decided, we'll delay it. There's lightning. There's snow and lightning. And MLS says, no, we'll get the game in. We'll figure it out. We'll get the game in. Everybody bitching, pissing, moaning, and complaining about this.
Oh, come on. The NFL will play through a damn snowstorm, through a blizzard, through fog. These pansy soccer players can't deal with it.
You got to see some of the pictures.
Oh, I did. It's awesome. To me, that would have been the one match to watch.
They still only scored 3 goals total. They still only scored 3 goals total. An inch and a half, 2 inches of snow.
That's nothing.
The pitch.
That's nothing. Come on.
Well, you and I, when we were growing up, we'd go out and play in weather like that, play football, real football.
Oh, hell yeah.
But these guys are out there in little shorts.
Oh, well.
I think it's just a dumbass situation all around. All right. We know the Minnesota Timberwolves are a very good basketball team this year.
Yes.
Fighting for that number 1 slot, number 1 seed in the West. But one of their star players, Anthony Edwards, missed the tip-off.
I lost track of time.
He lost track of time while he was working out with his resistance bands, which I guess he does all the time. He goes out in the hallway by himself and does the armband and the leg band.
Dumbass, set a timer. Better yet.
Or have somebody come out and say,
where the hell's the damn coach?
Yeah.
To tell one of the trainers to go get him in.
Hey, Anthony, it's time to play the fucking game.
Yeah, where's the head coach taking responsibility for making sure his players are there ready to go? Dumbasses all around.
So, of course, he did not get to get into the game until he was a sub later on. All right, Live Golf. Now, we're actually going to talk about the golf, not bitching and pissing and moaning between the PGA and Live. We're actually going to talk about the golf
game itself.
Live Golf's Adrian Meronk penalized in a recent Live Golf match for slow play, which dropped him from a tie for 5th to a tie for 6th, and he lost $240,000 as a result.
Ouch. Ouch. Oof.
I would say $240,000 for being slow on the course. That qualifies you as a dumbass.
Yep, pretty much. That's just wow.
All right, this last one, I've warned Dave, could hit a little close to home. I'm interested to see if he agrees with me or not. Because in the end, it's all business. It's all business.
It's all business.
But down in NASCAR country, in North Carolina, DEI is not making a lot of friends.
Gee, there's a shock.
And of course, we all know who is in charge of DEI right now.
Yep, Dale's widow, Teresa. And she is a piece of work.
The latest incident involving DEI and pulling the name of Dale Earnhardt, the nickname, the Intimidator, most specifically, out of the area is at the resort, the park Carowinds, which is outside of Kannapolis. Of course, that is Dale's
hometown.
Right. Carowinds had a roller coaster for years and years called the Intimidator. DEI said, nah, we don't want to do business with you anymore. So they had to rename the Intimidator coaster, repaint it, take the 3 off, and it is now the Thunder Striker.
Yeah, how dumb.
And of course,
Teresa needs to stop. She's making dumb decisions. She is not honoring Dale's memory at all. She's becoming a recluse. And it's pathetic, actually.
And this comes on the heels a few years back of their minor league baseball team.
Yeah, the Kannapolis Intimidators.
No longer the Intimidators.
Nope, they were part of the White Sox farm system.
Yep.
I have a Kannapolis Intimidators pennant, being the huge Dale Earnhardt fan that I am, along with being a Sox fan.
Yep. And again, something else where she is the head of DEI said, nope, we're not going to go forward with that.
Just bad form all around. Just dumb. Dumb.
Yep. And I didn't want to step on your toes on this, but when I saw
I saw that and I'm like, you stupid idiot.
You got to keep his memory alive.
Yeah. Just stop.
And there are people out there writing these stories who are like, you're erasing. You're not even just making bad business decisions.
Yeah, you're trying to erase him from everything. And that is wrong. Wrong on every frickin' level.
Yep. So there you go, kids. That will do it for Sports Frenzy 2.0. But, of course, Dave and I aren't done yet.
No, Saturday morning. Tune in for your hangover cure. Pop culture. Music, movies, books, TV, streaming. We'll tell you what to tune into and what to avoid.
Yep. This week we have Ace Frehley, his new album 10,000 Volts. I have a review of Beef, finally. The limited series on Netflix.
We have your Tokyo Vice update. And we are continuing our discussion of Oscar-winning films.
Yep, mid-70s on to the present day. If you did not catch from the beginning, 1929 to the mid-70s, check out last weekend's weekend edition. And then we'll give you more details. We'll fill in some of the gaps here this coming weekend on what you missed. Some of the little fun things we're doing. Of course, Dave shamed me 5 times! 5! Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 times!
Well, you're going to shame me coming up here in this second half.
I don't think it's the same thing. Considering some of the movies that I never... Now, I will say this, and I'll bring this up again on the weekend edition. The 5 movies that you saw, Best Picture winners, is what we're doing.
Yep.
I have resigned myself and actually bought 1. I have resigned myself to watch 2, at least, of the 5 that you shamed me on. Rightfully so. Rightfully so.
All right. Progress.
So we'll discuss that more on the weekend edition. So how could you not tune in to your
That would have
Saturday
been
morning?
a teaser, kids. Tune in and find out.
How could you not want to listen to your Saturday morning hangover cure?
Come on, your Uncle Kev and your Uncle Dave got you covered.
Yep. do have, by the way, a prestigious movie review.
Ooh.
A prestigious movie review to go along with our Oscar discussion. So. Yep. We'll talk about what we're going to be watching in the coming weeks. Got some good stuff for you, kids. Do not miss it. He's your Uncle Dave.
He's your Uncle Kev.
We will talk to you this Saturday morning. And if you don't want to indulge in the pop culture stuff, back here.
Be that way. We'll catch you next week on the Sports Show.
That's right, kids. So, farewell. So long.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Arrivederci.
Ta-ta. Sayonara.
Should we sing Happy Trails?
No, that's the weekend edition.
We love you, everybody. Take care.
Bye-bye.